You serious?
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Lee, aka the Privy Sage, and today we're going to be talking about Asmongold, the new DragonAge, the Veilguard game that's coming out, and the Saber interactive drama that happened just a few days ago with Asmongold. Now, before we get into the DragonAge, just to catch you up, if you're not familiar with the drama about Saber, there was a comment left on one of his videos from this CEO, supposedly, of Saber Interactive, I think the name of the company is. And it caused an uproar. It caused a lot of games journalists to get their panties a little, in the twist. They started writing a bunch of articles about it, trying to find out if it was really him, hunt this guy down, because you know what they were going to do. They were going to go after this guy because he basically spat on everything that they believe they should be doing.
Oh, you got to give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
And so instead of listening to me about it, let's look at the comment. Over here on IGN, you can see that Matthew Karch left this comment 4 days ago. Hey man, CEO of Saber here. I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game. We had the chance to work on something which by its nature was old school. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They're too complex and too much of an investment. We worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loops, but it was entirely addicting. That is what we wanted to recapture. I hope that the game like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time when games were simply about fun and immersion. Mistake number one. I spent some time as chief operating officer at Embracer, and I saw games there that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging and imposing morals on gamers. Mistake number two. We just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, that is what games should be about. Mistake number three. As you can imagine, games journalists spent the next day or two trying to figure out if Matthew Karch really wrote this comment.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. I will look for you. I will find you.
They were writing articles about it, reaching out to him, reaching out to Saber, trying to confirm, validate. I believe at one point I remember seeing a tweet by this gentleman that he didn't come out and admit it, but it was heavily implied that yes, that was him. And so they don't like that because game journalists, these game devs, they're full of activists. They want to preach to you. They want to impose their messaging and their morals on you as a gamer. They don't want in a game something that they disagree with and believe shouldn't be in a game because they tie games so closely to real life that whatever a game has in it, it has to reflect real life, no matter whether the game is a fantasy game or whatever time set in the game takes place in. If it doesn't work with what they believe should work in today's real world, then it shouldn't be in the game. And I'll provide an example for you here in a clip of Asmongold. Let's go ahead and listen to the clip.
I think that there's going to be a number of things in this game. Like, I actually think the narrative and the story in this game is going to be like it is going to be a masterclass in how to write a soft modern story. And I think it's going to be garbage. I really do. And the reason why I think it's going to be garbage is because I don't think that the writers of this game and the people that are making this game view it as a fantasy game. I think they view it as basically a way for them to, this is like a heightened reality of what currently exists. And I have like kind of 2 points of like reference here. The individual person's skin color is referred to as melanin. Now, like, they do have pronouns in the game, which is like, I don't really think that's like that big of a deal, right? I think it's annoying, right? But like, sure. And so US culture. Well, and then you also have, you can even have, and this is what I think is really lazy about it, is I talked about this earlier, but since we were on the video, I'll show it again, is that in the Veilguard, you can actually show, you can have an indicator here where you can have top surgery scars in order to emulate what your scars would look like if you had trans surgery. I think this is one of the most lazy and devoid of any degree of creativity examples of why you should expect this story in the game to be soft, modern, flat, and garbage, and completely uncreative. So we live in a world of magic, demons, dragons, and shapeshifting. However, you still need to undergo a, surgery in order to change your gender. What a ridiculous thing to say. It doesn't even make sense. So when I see something like that, and then I see the character's skin tone be referred to as melanin, I see an image of a game that is made to reinforce a real world view and be a hyper reality rather than a fantasy world. I find it to be very weird. And I don't think that you should expect to see a story that's written by a studio like that have any sort of depth to it, have any degree of edge, any sort of internal truth. I think that you can expect to see an extremely flat and extremely dull and a very soft modern story that takes no risks and only reinforces what the artists and the writers that are making it want you to believe about the real world. That's the way I feel. It feels condescending. It is. And so that's my opinion. And I understand that people might not think this, but I want everybody to clip what I'm saying here, and let's take it to the bank whenever the game comes out, and we'll see if I'm right or not.
As you can see, this game has a lot of things put into it. The new DragonAge game that would be considered for the modern audience, right? I mean, the chest scars, the pronouns, these are things that are taken out of the real world that are currently socially and politically divisive and put into this game for no reason other than basically proving the point of the Saber CEO correct. It's in there to push a message and impose moral values. These are things that people think that the activists that make these games, they think it's perfectly fine, it's perfectly normal, when in reality, while people may be tolerant of this in the real world, they don't necessarily agree with it. They don't want to see this stuff in their games. So why would they put them in there other than to, as the Saber CEO said, impose a message and moral values? Instead of just having a game that's fun, these activists want to push a message. They want to create a game that acts like a therapy session. It's not uncommon nowadays. All you have to do is pay attention to who's making games and the messaging that they push online, and you'll see exactly why they're doing what they're doing. They can't keep these things separate. Now, Asmongold has a chatter that basically calls out as to why this is being done. Now, the chatter on the surface is correct. Asmongold says he's not. And let's listen to this clip.
Sliders are not made for men and women, just to be clear. Well, then you're making a mistake because there's men and women out there. And if you don't make a version of the character that looks like one of them, people will have a harder time identifying with the characters. It's that simple. I find it to be very odd that we've removed male and female, something that 99% of people identify as, in order to add body type 1 and 2 in a way that nobody identifies as.
He's right about the body types. That drives me crazy. I hate that games overall have started doing that. They've removed male, female, and everything is either A or B or 1 and 2. It just makes no sense. However, usually on 2, I think it's normally 2, you can't remove her top. Why is that? If it's just a body type, why would it matter if we can't remove her top? Well, I can tell you why. Because it's actually the female. It's actually the woman, right? So the male and female still exist, but for whatever reason, they don't want to use the words because it seems that they don't want to offend certain groups of people. Maybe his chatters have an idea of what group of people that might be.
How is it inclusive to remove language that 99% of people use? Well, I think that there's a disparity, though. I think I think that there's a little bit of a problem. Yeah, because they say, so yeah, it's outrageous. And I think that more people should be outspoken about stuff like this. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Appeasing the LGBT? No, guys, can you please, like, you don't, like, there are plenty of guys and girls that are gay that don't have anything to fucking do with this. There are tons of people that are gay that also think this stuff is stupid. This is a subset of people that are often not even part of, like, this underrepresented group that are trying to put themselves out there and virtue signal like they care about them.
Look, we all know what his chatter is referring to. He's not saying every single LGBT person supports this or is crazy or is mental or whatever. We know what he's referring to. And to act like he doesn't know, I can only imagine there's other reasons as to why he's doing this, whether it's to not piss off his friends or whether it's to make sure he doesn't jeopardize Twitch or YouTube, because they're very touchy about this stuff. I mean, you're a big enough platform and you say something they don't like, you're going to get mass reported, you're going to get banned, they're going to potentially go after you and dox you on the internet, they're going to try to cancel you. Look, we've seen this before. They're going to go after your advertisers, they're going to try to get you fired from your real job. We've seen this before. So I don't know if that's what he's afraid of. He doesn't strike me as somebody who would be afraid of him, because he says some spicy shit sometimes on this stream. So I don't know, but I'm just surprised someone who appears to be as intelligent as he is either misses the point the guy's making or purposely twists the point that the guy's making to outright say he's wrong. And I don't think he is.
The woke assholes? Yeah, they're like the Karens of the internet. It's still the LGBT agenda. No, it is a small subset.
Yes, Asmon, it is in service to the LGBT agenda. That's what your original chatter was trying to put across in their comment. Look, it's chat. There's only so much you can say in chat without the risk of being banned by you or your mods. But yes, it is in service to the LGBT agenda. His statement does not imply every single LGBT person. But when it's in service to the LGBT agenda, that doesn't require it to only be pushed by LGBT people. You have a bunch of people who are not LGBT that are pushing this stuff. They're in they're in the video game business, they're in the movie business, they're in the TV business, they're in the academia, they're in the government. They are all in these places and pushing this agenda. We see it all the time. And as someone who is socially and politically activated as you are, I mean, you're reacting to all this crap on your Twitch stream. So I know you see it. You should be aware of what he's actually saying and understand that he is right. Whether you're afraid to admit it or not, I don't know. But you know he's right, because we know he's right. It's not complicated.
Most people that are LGBT agenda are like, don't prosecute us, let us be able to get married, and let us live our lives in an equal way. That's what most normal people that are part of LGBT think. That is like the 80 to 90% of them. Like, yeah, this is not, like, again, I think the majority of this is done by people that are trying to do it in the name of other people. That was 20 years ago. Yeah.
Is this guy stuck 20 years in the past? I mean, look, I get it. He doesn't want to call out the group as a whole. I understand that. And nobody's doing that. But what he just said, yeah, that accurately applied 20 years ago. And it may still apply to the vast majority of your normal LGBT people today, the non-extremist ones or the non-activist ones, right? But that's not what we're referring to. And that's not the ones that are pushing a lot of this political change, a lot of the social change. It's the extremists that are pushing this, and that's what they're calling out. I don't understand why he's not seeing this. I really don't get it. It boggles the mind here. It's like he's stuck 20 years in the past and he's not either able to see or willing to see what is actually going on. And he's not dumb, so he's got to see it. I can't understand what the hell he's doing. It makes no sense to me. What is he afraid of?
Just got here what's happening. I don't know. They want more rights. I mean, I think they should have any right that a normal person should have, right? Right to get married, anything else, of course. Yeah, it's not even a question. They just want to be treated normal, and these developers stereotype them. Yeah, because they don't know any gay or trans people. So they design things, or black people, right, with Assassin's Creed. So, like, what do you do when you don't know any black people in real life? Well, whenever you have a samurai fight, you put on hip-hop music.
Look, they already have all those rights. They have every right that we have. And look, this is turning into a video, honestly, that I don't really want to go this deep into this issue. I mean, we all know what's going on. We're not done. We can see it with our own two eyes. You either agree with it or you don't, but we all understand what's going on. The whole point of this video is basically what they're trying to do to push this stuff into video games. It's what the Saber Interactive CEO was talking about. It's what Asmongold talked about earlier in this video. They're trying to normalize this stuff because these activists in these game companies, they don't have to just be LGBT, but they are. I mean, we see the people when they come out, they post on Twitter, or when they, make comments on behalf of the game community. I'm sorry, of the game company, in YouTube videos or press releases or, whatever platform they're using. We see them. It's obvious. They're there. It's not all of them, but they're there. And to act like they're not involved in any of these decisions to put this stuff into the game, I think is just stupid. And he's not dumb. So I just, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to call it out. But a spade's a spade. And I thought, for one, he would call that out when he sees it. But they are putting this in there, both non-LGBT people and LGBT people. They're all activists. They're pushing this in there because that's what they want socially and politically. And instead of letting us just have fun, they want to preach and push a message, just like the Saber Interactive said. And that's what this is all about. Okay? Video games need to be fun without all this messaging, without all this, imposing moral values onto everybody, without preaching to people. We don't want to be preached to. We go to church to get preached to. We don't play video games to get preached to. We don't want to watch movies to get preached to. TV shows. No, none of that. Okay. It's escapism. We just want to sit down and enjoy ourselves without anything that potentially could point to some of the divisive stuff that's currently taking place in the real world. Unless it's meant to be as a parody, poke fun at it, haha. You know, sometimes that happens and sometimes that's okay. But for the most part, we just want to have fun. We don't want all this bullshit in our video game. Anyway, that's all I got for you today, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Is Asmongold wrong? Are we kind of somewhere in the middle? Again, I'm not trying to offend any specific group of people. I'm just calling things out as I see them. And if you're offended, I apologize. That's never my intent. But at the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm being shackled on what I can say. So if you liked the video, hit a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I will talk to you guys next time.